There's a moment, often in the quiet of morning, when the first step out of bed feels heavier than it should. The knees resist, the hips tighten, the shoulders ache with a stiffness that whispers, "You're not as young as you once were." For millions of people over 50, joint pain is the shadow that lingers, turning simple joys like gardening, walking with grandchildren, or even climbing stairs into cautious, calculated moves. What most people don't realize is that the very first drink you reach for in the morning could be either fueling your discomfort or easing it away. That's the mystery I want to unravel today. I'm Dr. Brian, and welcome to Channel Wellness Blueprint Over 50. In this journey together, I'll share 9 simple but powerful morning water habits, practical, natural tools that can help soothe joint pain, restore mobility, and, most importantly, give you back the freedom to move with ease. Imagine your joints like the hinges on a well-used door. When they're dry, they creak, resist, and sometimes even get stuck. But when oiled, the door opens smoothly, quietly, and without strain. Our joints are no different. Inside each one is a fluid, called synovial fluid, that works as that vital oil. The trouble is, as we age, our bodies don't always maintain the right levels of this natural lubrication. And when that happens, pain and stiffness creep in. Hydration, especially first thing in the morning, is one of the simplest yet most overlooked remedies for this problem. I remember a patient of mine, Eleanor, who was 72. She came to me convinced that her arthritis pain was simply her destiny. Her mornings were the hardest. She described standing at her kitchen counter, gripping it with both hands just to steady herself before she could begin her day. She was surprised when the first thing I asked her wasn't about medication, but about water. Eleanor admitted that most mornings she reached for coffee and only drank a glass or two of water all day. Her joints, quite literally, were running dry. Within weeks of changing her habits, starting her mornings with warm water, adding lemon a few days a week, and steadily sipping water throughout the day, her stiffness eased, her mobility improved, and she began gardening again, something she thought she'd lost forever. Why warm water? Think of it like gently stretching your muscles before exercise. Cold water shocks, but warm water soothes. When you drink it upon waking, it stimulates circulation, relaxes tense tissues, and signals to your joints that it's time to move again. It also helps flush out metabolic waste that accumulates overnight, waste that can stoke inflammation if left behind. Studies have shown that dehydration can reduce the production of synovial fluid, making joints grind rather than glide. But just 1 or 2 glasses of warm water in the morning can begin to reverse that. Now, if you squeeze in half a lemon, you take this simple ritual a step further. Lemon provides vitamin C, which is crucial for collagen production, the very protein that cushions your joints. Collagen is like the padding in your shoes. Without it, every step feels harder, harsher. Vitamin C also fights oxidative stress, those tiny sparks of damage that accelerate aging in our joints. The lemon water doesn't just taste refreshing, it becomes a gentle anti-inflammatory tonic. But hydration isn't only about mornings. Throughout the day, your joints rely on steady water intake to stay nourished. Think of your body as a river, not a stagnant pond. When the river runs full, toxins are carried away, tissues stay supple, and energy flows. But when the river dries, everything stagnates. Pain, inflammation, fatigue. That's why drinking water consistently, not just when you're thirsty, is so essential. Thirst is your body's emergency alarm, and by the time you feel it, your joints may already be struggling. For some, plain water feels like a chore. This is where coconut water can be a delightful ally. Naturally rich in electrolytes like potassium and magnesium, it helps your body hold on to hydration more effectively. Magnesium, in particular, is a quiet hero for joints and muscles, easing cramps and reducing tension that can pull uncomfortably on stiff joints. And coconut water is gentle on the stomach, making it a perfect mid-morning refreshment. In fact, a 2018 review in the journal Nutrients highlighted how electrolytes play a significant role in maintaining fluid balance, which is critical for older adults, especially those prone to dehydration. I've often told my patients, don't just count glasses of water, count moments of kindness to your body. Warm water in the morning is kindness. Lemon is an extra layer of kindness. Sipping steadily throughout the day instead of gulping in desperation, that's kindness too. And giving your body the gift of coconut water now and then, that's not indulgence. That's intelligent self-care. When Eleanor returned after 6 weeks of making hydration her morning medicine, she sat across from me and said, "Dr. Brian, I didn't think something so small could matter this much." She wasn't cured of arthritis. No glass of water is a miracle. But she was moving again, smiling again, and believing in her own strength again. That belief, fueled by water, is the foundation of every healing journey. So before we rush into exotic remedies or complicated regimens, let's start with the simplest of tools, the glass waiting on your kitchen counter. Hydration is the oil for your hinges, the river that carries you forward. And when you honor it, your joints respond with grace. Hydration lays the foundation, but for many people, especially those living with arthritis or chronic joint stiffness, water alone is not enough. Our joints are like gardens. They need watering, yes, but also nourishment, care, and protection from weeds that can choke them. This is where certain natural boosters, stirred right into your daily routine, can change not just how you feel in the morning, but how you move throughout your life. One of my favorite examples is aloe vera juice. Most people think of aloe as something you rub on sunburns, but its healing power goes much deeper. Aloe contains compounds that calm inflammation, almost like a cool cloth laid across a swollen knee. It also provides vitamins like C and E, which are vital for repairing joint tissues. I once worked with a gentleman named Robert, 68, who struggled with both arthritis and digestive problems. His mornings were filled with discomfort, stiff joints, and an unsettled stomach. When we introduced pure aloe vera juice into his mornings, not only did his digestion improve, but the reduction in joint swelling was remarkable. Within months, he had resumed his daily walks around the lake, something he had abandoned for years. Science supports this too. A 2015 study in the Journal of Inflammation noted aloe's ability to reduce inflammatory markers in the body, making it a natural ally for people seeking joint pain relief without harsh medications. Flax seeds offer another extraordinary gift. They are tiny, often overlooked, but inside each seed lies a treasure of omega-3 fatty acids. Omega-3s are like peacekeepers in the body. They calm the overactive immune responses that drive inflammation in conditions like arthritis. Imagine a neighborhood plagued by noise and conflict. Omega-3s are the mediators who restore calm and order. Drinking flax seed water, prepared by soaking a spoonful of seeds overnight and sipping it in the morning, delivers these peacekeepers right where they're needed. The seeds also contain lignans, plant compounds with antioxidant properties that help shield joint tissues from further damage. When my patient Margaret, a retired teacher, added flaxseed water to her mornings, she described it as smoothing the edges of her pain. She still had arthritis, yes, but the sharp stabbing sensations dulled into something she could manage, something that no longer ruled her day. Apple cider vinegar, too, has a place at the table. Its tangy bite hides acetic acid, a compound that helps the body break down uric acid crystals. These crystals can build up around joints, causing not only stiffness, but also flare-ups of pain, especially in people with gout. I often explain it like this. Imagine gravel collecting in the hinges of a door. Every time you try to move that hinge, the grinding is painful. Apple cider vinegar helps dissolve some of that gravel. It also provides trace minerals, including potassium and magnesium, which assist in muscle function and fluid balance. Taken in moderation, just a tablespoon or two diluted in warm water, it can be a gentle detoxifier and an unexpected supporter of mobility. Then there is ginger and turmeric, two roots long, revered in traditional medicine and increasingly validated by modern science. Ginger contains gingerol, a compound that directly reduces the production of inflammatory chemicals in the body. When you sip ginger tea in the morning, you are, in effect, quieting the fire that burns within your joints. Turmeric, golden and earthy, owes its power to curcumin, a substance so potent that researchers have compared its effectiveness to certain anti-inflammatory drugs without the side effects. A 2016 meta-analysis published in the Journal of Medicinal Food confirmed that curcumin significantly reduced pain in patients with arthritis, providing a solid scientific foundation for what cultures have known for centuries. Combined, ginger and turmeric are like a symphony for your joints, each note enhancing the other, each sip soothing stiffness and returning grace to your movements. What makes these boosters so powerful is not just their chemistry, but their accessibility. They aren't exotic pills locked away behind a prescription pad. They are seeds, roots, juices, and pantry staples you can weave into your mornings without fuss. And while none of them is a miracle cure, together they create a cumulative effect. Less inflammation, more flexibility, fewer flare-ups, and most importantly, renewed hope. I've seen patients light up when they realize that healing isn't always about another pill bottle. Sometimes it's about adding a splash of aloe, a spoonful of flax, a drizzle of vinegar, or a steaming cup of ginger turmeric tea to the rhythm of their mornings. It's about reclaiming not just the ability to move, but the confidence to say, my body can still support me. These boosters are more than remedies. They're reminders that nature has not abandoned us, even in our later years. And so, as you sit with your morning glass, remember, every sip can be a choice toward healing. Every small habit a declaration that your joints do not define your spirit. You are not powerless. You are, in fact, far more resilient than you've been led to believe. Hydration oils the hinges, nutrients nourish the garden, but sometimes our joints still cry out for deeper comfort. When pain has built up over the years, it often needs not just fuel, but a soothing embrace. This is where one of the simplest, most overlooked therapies comes in, an Epsom salt soak. It's an old-fashioned remedy, often dismissed as something our grandparents swore by, yet it holds remarkable truth, both in tradition and in science. Picture lowering yourself into a warm bath, the steam rising, the water cradling tired muscles, the ache of your knees or shoulders beginning to loosen with every minute. The secret here is magnesium sulfate, the mineral compound found in Epsom salt. When dissolved in warm water, magnesium is absorbed through the skin, seeping quietly into the muscles and joints. Magnesium is not flashy. It doesn't get the attention of vitamins or trendy supplements, but it is essential. It helps muscles relax, reduces cramping, and supports over 300 biochemical processes in the body, many of them linked directly to how we handle pain and stress. I recall a patient named James, 74, a retired carpenter with hands that told the story of decades of work. His knuckles were swollen from arthritis, his back stiff from years of lifting. He laughed when I first suggested an Epsom salt soak. "Doc, I've tried everything. You think a bath is going to fix 40 years of lumber?" But I encouraged him to give it a chance. Not as a cure, but as a ritual. After a few weeks, he returned, humbled, admitting that while the arthritis hadn't disappeared, his evenings had transformed. He described sitting in the tub as a reset button, a way to dissolve not just pain, but the tension and fatigue that had built up through the day. He said, "It's like my joints sigh with relief." That sigh, that release, was what gave him the energy to keep moving, to keep enjoying his grandchildren, to keep living with less fear of pain. The heat of the water itself is therapeutic, improving blood flow, delivering oxygen and nutrients more effectively to areas that are often starved of both. Circulation is like a delivery truck system in your body. When traffic is jammed, healing stalls. But warmth clears the roads, letting everything flow freely again. Combined with magnesium's ability to ease stiffness, this simple soak becomes a powerful ally in the fight against joint discomfort. There's also a detoxifying effect at play. Epsom salt baths help draw out excess fluid and toxins from tissues, reducing swelling that can make joints feel tight and inflamed. Think of it as wringing out a sponge that has grown heavy with waste. It lightens, softens, and makes space again. For people with conditions like arthritis or fibromyalgia, this lightness can translate into genuine relief, if only for a time. And sometimes a little relief is enough to restore courage and momentum. What I love most about this therapy is its accessibility. You don't need an expensive device, a complicated regimen, or a prescription. You need a bag of Epsom salt, some warm water, and 20 minutes of stillness. In a world that constantly pushes us to do more, faster, louder, there is something deeply healing about slowing down, sinking in, and simply allowing the body to rest and receive. The bath becomes not just medicine for the joints, but medicine for the soul. Science supports what many of my patients have experienced. Research published in Magnesium Research highlights how magnesium deficiency is linked to increased inflammation and pain sensitivity. By restoring magnesium levels, even through transdermal absorption in a bath, we may help calm those processes that make arthritis pain so persistent. While more studies are needed to fully map the pathways, the anecdotal evidence from countless older adults cannot be ignored. So when I think of James leaning back in his tub, or Eleanor, who rediscovered gardening through morning hydration, or Margaret, who found calm through flaxseed water, I am reminded that healing doesn't always come wrapped in a prescription bottle. Sometimes it arrives in steam and warmth, in minerals from the earth, in rituals that honor the body instead of demanding from it. An Epsom salt soak will not erase decades of wear, but it can give you something even more precious: moments of peace, of lightness, of moving without dread. And those moments, when strung together day after day, become the threads of a life lived with more freedom and less fear. So as you consider the tools we've discussed, remember that water heals in many forms, from the glass on your counter to the bath in your tub. And in those forms lies a gift, waiting patiently, ready to restore your strength, one sip, one soak, one morning at a time. So here's the truth, my friend. Healing does not always require the extraordinary. Sometimes it lives in the ordinary moments. The glass of warm water at sunrise, the splash of lemon, the seeds soaked overnight, the gentle bath that cradles tired joints. These small rituals, practiced with love and consistency, can transform stiffness into movement, pain into comfort, and doubt into hope. Age may write lines on our faces, but it does not have to chain our bodies. You are never too old to reclaim freedom in your steps. I'm Dr. Brian. Stay strong, stay kind, and keep moving forward.